Have you ever hyped yourself up to build a brand new habit, only to find yourself slipping right back into your old routine, literally days later? I mean, we've all been there, right? We try running every morning, reading more books, we inevitably fail, and then we just beat ourselves up and blame our incredibly weak willpower. But what if I told you that it has absolutely nothing to do with willpower? Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're going to unravel a really surprising rule about human behavior, and we're going to do it by looking at one incredibly fascinating story, the guitar experiment.
Okay, let's dive into this. The main protagonist of our story today is Professor Shawn Achor. He's a former Harvard lecturer, a best-selling author, and a super successful entrepreneur. Now, you would think that a literal expert on human psychology could easily build a simple everyday habit, right? Well, he actually stumbled on something super basic. He just wanted to practice his guitar for a bit after coming home from work. But instead of his grand, noble goal to practice, the actual outcome was, well, a lot less inspiring. He found himself constantly giving in to the temptation of the TV, just slouching on the sofa night after night. And honestly, this totally validates our own struggles, doesn't it? That gravitational pull of the TV after a long, exhausting workday is just incredibly strong. So why exactly couldn't this brilliant guy just play his guitar? Well, that brings us to Section 1, the mystery of the unplayable guitar. Here's the setup. It turns out his guitar wasn't just sitting out, it was locked away in its case, tucked deep inside his hall closet. To actually play the thing, he had to get off the couch, walk over, open the closet, drag out this heavy case, undo all the little latches, and finally pull out the instrument. This whole process took about 20 seconds. Just 20 seconds! But that brief, tiny moment of physical and psychological effort, that was the ultimate villain of our story. It was an invisible, massive wall of friction standing right between him and his goal. Which leads us right into Section 2, the 20-second friction. Realizing what was actually happening, Achor didn't just sit there and try to force himself to have more willpower. He completely shifted gears. He decided to manipulate his physical environment instead. He wrote about this in his book, The Happiness Advantage, calling it the 20-second rule. It's basically a highly practical behavioral science approach to habit formation. The core idea is that by simply decreasing or increasing the physical barrier to an action by just 20 seconds, you can drastically flip the odds of whether or not you'll actually follow through. And this brilliantly illustrates the elegance of his solution. Achor took that guitar out of the closet once and for all, and he bought a cheap guitar stand. He left the guitar right in the middle of his living room. By doing this, he reduced those annoying 20 seconds of friction down to absolute zero. The result? Total game changer. He successfully practiced his guitar every single day after that because it was right there, zero effort required to start. So, why is this so effective? Let's get into Section 3, the wall of activation energy. Let's zoom out from Achor's living room for a second to look at the really fascinating psychological science behind this simple trick. The key word we need to understand here is activation energy. Basically, this is the initial spark of physical or mental energy required to just begin any task. Think of it like starting a car engine. If that very first step feels even slightly bothersome, our brains instantly switch into overdrive, getting highly creative and inventing all sorts of wild excuses not to do it. So listen, if you struggle with this, please don't feel guilty. Your brain is literally designed by human evolution to be an energy-saving machine. Being lazy isn't some deep personality flaw you have to fix. Laziness is a feature, not a bug. Because our default biological setting is to conserve energy at all costs, we just have to be smart and design our daily environments to work with this biology rather than fighting against it. All right, Section 4, bring good habits closer. Let's make this super practical and apply it directly to your own daily routine. Take a morning run, for example. Waking up in the cold and having to rummage through your dark drawers for your clothes and matching socks? Yeah, that's your personal guitar in the closet. It's a huge barrier, so fix it. Put your running clothes right next to your bed the night before. You wake up and you're fully dressed to run in exactly 5 seconds. You've suddenly dropped that daunting morning activation energy to nearly zero. There are honestly so many awesome ways to apply this. Do you want to read more books this year? Don't hide your book on a bookshelf across the room. Leave it wide open to the very next page, right on your desk. Or say you want to take your daily vitamins. Stop keeping them in the medicine cabinet. Put the bottle literally touching your morning water glass. For any positive habit, you just need to ask yourself one question. How can I shave 20 seconds of effort off the starting line?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can completely reverse the strategy. Section 5.
keep bad habits away. This is the flip side of the rule. You can actually use this friction defensively to absolutely destroy your bad habits. Remember Sean Ecor? He also realized he wanted to stop watching so much junk TV. His hilarious but highly effective solution? He literally popped the batteries right out of his TV remote and hid them in a completely different room in a distant drawer. He intentionally created 20 seconds of pure hassle just to turn the TV on. You can do the exact same thing. Turn your smartphone totally off and leave it in another room. Or disable the auto login on your favorite social media sites so you actually have to type out your long password every single time. Make the bad habit annoying.
So as we wrap up this explainer and you start looking around at your own daily environment, I want you to fundamentally reframe how you think about your habits. Throw the guilt out the window. Just leave yourself with this one really powerful question to ponder. Are you actually struggling from a weak will, or do you just have poor friction management? Find the guitar in the closet in your own life and move it out to the living room stand. Honestly, you'll be absolutely amazed at what just 20 seconds can do.